What is going on, everybody? I am back with another video, and today I would like to share a recent project I just finished, which is this prototype hip bag. While not a new concept, I decided to make myself my own hip bag as opposed to going out and buying one for when I'm cycling. Anyways, so when I go cycling, I just want to travel light. I normally just carry the items you see in front of me, and maybe some kind of a protein or power bar in the in the bag. And I've been using, if I can find it, I've experimented with a few things. I've actually used this little tactical bag here, and I've actually had a way of attaching my keys, and on the back had a loop, and I put my U-lock in the back as a U-lock holder, and put my cable inside here, and my sunglasses, whatever. But I didn't really like the style of carrying this around. The other one I've been using is this one from Peak Designs, and this worked really well because you can actually thread some kind of something on the back here that actually your U-lock will fit right on the back, but it wasn't very secure, and it's heavy, and I just felt like the material, while it was very nice, it was too compact. See how thin it is? And I needed something a little bit more beefier, thicker, more room to put stuff. So I started out drawing up a few plans, and originally I came up with something like this, and there's supposed to be a second piece on the back, and essentially you would just sew these together like this, stitch them together, and then you'd have a back piece, if you can imagine it, that you'd sew to the back, and then of course these just fold down, which is where the flaps go, at a larger and a smaller version. And in fact, I may actually use this for a different project in the future. Now, however, I decided to use a slightly different, more efficient pattern, which is this right here. And I don't know how well this is going to show up on the camera, but if you can imagine these sides folding up and this going all the way around like this, and then of course the flap coming down, you notice that you only need two sides to be stitched, just like that, one and then two. And obviously you'd stitch on the back plate first, which is on here. So you got the longer piece right here, which is essentially for where your U-lock goes. And you got a shorter piece, which is just a square, and it just sews right onto the back of the pouch. So the reason why this is longer is because you need to have the depth, or the room for your U-lock to fit into, which I'll show you in a little bit, see if it's right in there. So as for dimension, this is 5.5 by 5.5, and this is about 5 tall. Actually, I don't really have the dimensions off my top of my head or anything like that, but you can pretty much make any size you want, really. I wanted a depth of about 3 inches or so, so I made it 3 inches out, and then I kind of I measured 1 inch up to get the angle, and rounded it off, basically, literally rounded it off. That's what I mean. And then got this part to be correct, so it actually will round all the way up to this little corner here. And the rest of the flap, you can shape this any way you want. This just folds right over, just kind of like this. And the reason why I like this design so much is the fact that when you have it open, it literally is just a giant pouch. I mean, again, this is just a prototype. I mean, I guess I could just go in and put pockets in here, so a couple little elastics in where I can drop stuff. But again, this is just a prototype. While this is not a new concept, because I know Roadrunner Bags and some of the other companies make something similar to this design or using the same pattern, but again, if I can make this myself, why go out and buy something? And it's custom made, right? So I had this kind of dirty, dingy piece of leather left over from my numerous projects. I decided to try and make it and see if it works, and it does work. Yeah, you can see I got some pretty beefy stitching on there. And this is all hand done, and you can see this is where your belt loop or belt goes through, this loop here. I could have made it a little bit smaller, but I have a 2-inch tactical belt, which I like to use because these items are rather heavy when you put them all together. I mean, the U-lock by itself is pretty darn heavy, along with the chain. Forget about putting the rest of your tools into this thing. And I happen to have an extra FidLock laying around, which I just kind of, you know, just attach to the bottom and top of the flap here, which, you know, it just folds down. And going back to my main point, the reason why I like it so much is that when you compress the whole thing down, like if you have it full and you fold it down, you know, you got these little wings that pop out. But when you have it, you know, compressed all the way down, these actually naturally fold together like this because of the way this is stitched, and it creates this nice, not a watertight, but, you know, a little bit more water resistant than normal. And then you can either use like a what's it called, like a plastic buckle, or any kind of closure method that you prefer. Heck, you can even sew on like Velcro if that's your thing, where you can just pull it, open the bag and shut it without having to do too much work. But just a very interesting project, I would say. Very easy. Like I said, just mainly three main pieces. I mean, and depending on what kind of closure you want to do, if you take all this away, it's literally just that giant piece I showed you, which folds together. You would of course sew it inside out, so all the stuff would be on the inside. Then you just fold it this way in the inside. And I'll probably maybe pop a picture of it up there, and then you simply just reverse it. Just turn it inside out after you're done, and you get this. And so there's one piece, here's two pieces. So this piece sews onto this piece first, and then this sews onto this giant piece next, and then you sew the giant piece. So it's very quick and efficient and minimalistic. There's really not much you really need to sew or do, but it works very well. So let me just open this up. I'll show you. So let's see, I'm just gonna pop my bicycle chain in here, and then, and of course it's just a giant dump pouch, so you just gonna literally just throw everything in here, just like that. And I love those U-locks, by the way, like that. And then of course it's attached to the back of your belt, and then just like that. So you, of course, depending on the size of your U-lock, you're gonna have to adjust your measurements for it. But it's, again, a very easy project to do. And wow, this thing is quite weighty once you put everything in it, but you can see everything just fits in there with room to spare. In fact, if I open this up, I can probably still fit like sunglasses. Well, although I probably wouldn't put them in here like now, but with all this heavy stuff in here. But maybe in the future, I'll update this design a little bit to include some more pockets, or maybe slightly deeper. Not too sure yet, but you can definitely fit like a power bar or two in here, some other items. But this is mainly meant to be a tool pouch, and it works quite well. And I don't really have 0.75 inch webbing, which is what this U-lock uses, so I had to go make my own out of leather, so it doesn't really slide as well as like actual webbing does. So anyways, I thought in the future maybe I could sew like a Velcro panel across the top and put my little Velcro patches on it or whatnot. But yeah, it works quite well. So anyways, I decided to show off this little thing I just made. Again, these are not new, obviously. I mean, this design has been used before by many other manufacturers, but you know me, I like making my own stuff, and this is just a lot better than me spending money buying anything. When I had leftover, I had tons of leftover material from all my previous projects, so this easily was a very nice project. Took me roughly about 3 hours or so to get this all done, but in the end, I'm fairly happy with the way it came out. Get all this stuff out of here, and yeah, it's really fun too if you're into this kind of DIY stuff. And you know, you can go as creative as you want to, you know, including the inner pockets if you want to have any inner pockets. I just left mine as a big dump pouch again because it's a prototype. You can have like a front pocket. The way this is stitched is perfect for a front pocket right here, which I kind of wish I did now. But yep, here we are. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it below. Aside from that, take care, have a nice day, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.